Professionally as a model, it's about 6 years.
6 years.
Yes.
Wow. And it's good that we have you, as you have an agency, and these are the people.
I know.
These are the people, you know, that models are saying are not paying them. Yeah? So it's good that we have you, and you'll be able to break down this for us as we continue to be having this conversation. But then over to you, Lorraine. Tell us a bit about your 4 years into modeling. How did it start? How has the journey been? And what are some of the things that you celebrate sitting here today?
Well, I started straight after high school. Unlike my friend here, it wasn't smooth for me because I decided to become a freelance model. So I threw myself in the deep end, and there was a lot of rejection because, of course, I didn't have experience. But I feel like I grew with that as time went by. So I started with the runway modeling because I'm tall. I felt like that was where I needed to be.
I'm also tall. Can I
Yes, sure. You can. I don't think you're never too old. It's all about your pizzazz, your personality.
Use the word old. I'm not don't like old. Anyway.
So I had the privilege of working for certain organizations doing runway, and from there I grew in the industry, and you know, I believe I was trained by the best, which helped me reach where I am. But there are some challenges I experienced as a freelance model, especially when you don't have someone representing you. I think she can witness to that. It's so hard, so you have to push your way through
to get to where you are now. But then have you ever had that curiosity or that interest to get signed in an agency or something?
It's very rare to get a good agency in Kenya. You find that most agencies you join, they tell you to pay as you join. Initially, you're not supposed to pay as you join. Even Ajuma doesn't ask you to pay when you join her agency. What's supposed to happen is they're supposed to sign you, build your portfolio, help you grow as a person, because as you grow, they also grow. So I found it really hard to find a good agency and a good agent, and I just decided to stay freelance. And it worked out for me because, you know, you have to be outgoing, you have to network with people, and in that I got to know one of the greatest people in the industry. I worked with the best, and I appreciate that and how far I've come.
Fortunately for you. Yes, but then there's so many models out there who are still like lamenting over, you know, the challenges that they're facing in this industry. And this question is for you, Lorraine. Does it really pay in Kenya being a model? Do you get value? Do you get, you know, like what you're supposed to get as models? Compare us even to the other countries, if you may. Do you think models are appreciated enough for us to get to a time when we're having a hashtag like Pay Models KE?
Well, I was having this discussion yesterday with a few friends. It was really heated. And my opinion was commercial in Kenya pays well, because here you're dealing with big organizations such as Safaricom or Telcom. But when it comes to high fashion, I don't believe we're paid enough, because I look at designers. Well, Kenya, we're still struggling with our economy, yes? And where we are with our economy is not that stable. So you find that the 1% in Kenya that is rich, so to speak, okay, I'm not so sure about the statistics. I'm just assuming. Approximately. You find that they're the ones who can afford designer. Most of the middle class cannot afford designer, cannot afford to buy a cloth worth 10,000. So you find that designers are struggling. They're struggling as well. And in their struggle, you find that models are not getting paid as well because of, I just believe it's where we are as a country. Yes.
Let me get something clear. There's, you're bringing in two very fundamental points that I would like, for the sake of my viewer, you clarify. This commercial modeling and high fashion modeling. Probably just expound more on what's the difference, and how do you bring out the fact that, you know, the commercial pays well as compared to the high fashion modeling?
Sure. Commercial mostly deals with
Is it
brand
adverts?
endorsements,
Okay, okay.
more of advertisements.
Okay.
You become a face of a brand, for
Like
example.
hair
Hair
products,
products,
beauty products.
and whatnot. Then high fashion deals with fashion, clothing.
Okay.
You know, it's more of I'm speaking like Paris, Milan,
Okay.
brands like Gucci, Prada, and in Kenya,
jewelry.
LC Waikiki in Kenya, or Vivo. So you find that most of the people in Kenya are middle class. We buy mtumba, we buy clothes from here and there. It's rare to find someone buying designer. So you find that people in high fashion are struggling really
To make money out
to
of
make
what-
money, because in
Okay.
commercial, big organizations generate money like Safaricom. So it's easier to pay commercial models. Yes.
Okay, wow, now that comes out clear. You run an agency. How does it work exactly? She says, you know, models are now asked to pay before they get signed.
Yeah.
You know, how does it work exactly if you're a model in Kenya and you're trying to make it in this industry? Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, well, as I had mentioned earlier, most people in Kenya, usually when it comes to modeling, they don't understand exactly what happens. Even me, I was in that position at some point when I was starting out. I thought that, because that was a precedent that had been set, that to join an agency you have to pay. So when I started mine, I would charge models 1,000 bob as registration fees. But then over time I did my research and I realized actually these, even when I charge them the 1,000 bob, they have to get value for that money. So when I charge them for the 1,000 bob to join the agency, I would take them through a photo shoot session, which would help them build their portfolio. So with the portfolio, I'm able to get them clients. But as I said, I did the research.
Okay, let me ask you, there are individual models who are working freelance,
Yes.
and there are those that have opted to be signed under you know,
Yes.
an agency. What's the significance of having an agency as opposed to being a freelance? How does it work exactly?
Okay, like now over time you realize that to join an agency you don't need to pay anything. I just want to clear that up.
Okay.
You don't need to pay any registration fees. Nowadays we do not charge any registration fees. So the advantage of having an agency is that they get to fight your battles for you. Like for instance, if you go to a high fashion event, your agency looked for the job for you, and then maybe the event organizer does not want to pay you. So you as a model, you don't go through the hassle of running up and down,
It's not
calling,
people talking to
emailing.
your people.
Yeah,
You
now
don't
it's
get to
the
interact
agent.
directly
Yeah,
with
it's
the
the work of the agent now
Okay.
to run up and down to make sure you get your money
Right.
paid to you. And also at the same time, the advantage of having an agency, like I can now as an agent, let's say I have a model somewhere, and between me, the agent, and the client, there's some delay in payments. Now me, agent, and the model, I'll use some money from the agency, pay the model as a wait for the client to pay me later.
Okay.
So that way the model keeps earning. They don't suffer. You know, I had said earlier at some social media platform, a model is not like a business entity. She or he cannot self-sustain for you to tell them wait for 30 days to get paid or wait for 10 days to get paid. You have to pay them upfront so that they can keep coming back to offer you the services that they give you.
Okay.
Yes.
I like the fact that you say it's possible to pay the model as then you wait for the client to pay the agency.
Yes.
What do you think happens that we can have such a complaint of a hashtag of Kenyan? A lot of Kenyan models are now coming up and actually pouring their hearts out and
Yeah.
saying, I have been through that experience. Is there a gap somewhere probably in between how the systems ought to be working and how they are working right now?
Yes,
Probably,
sure.
yeah.
There is a gap, and the gap here is the transparency.
Yeah.
The model is just told that you're going to appear in a certain advert. They don't get to see the contracts. They don't see what are the terms of the contract. They don't know how much is being paid. So at the end of the day, you're just following what your agent is telling you. And this is the advice I want to give models. Whenever you are going out for a job, even for you're a freelance, always ensure you have the paperwork ready. Even if it's just a simple job, even if you're getting paid 5,000 shillings, treat it as an official job, because there's no work which is meaningless. The 5,000 bob means something to you if you can go and work to get paid that. So always treat it as a serious thing. Make sure you have a contract. Read through the contract. If you do not understand, ask questions. There's no
So
such
the contract
thing
has
as
to
a...
be there regardless of the amount you're going to get.
Yeah,
There's nothing
there
like
has
that.
to be.
There has
Only
to be an
big projects
agreement.
need
Yes.
contracts.
Yes.
There's nothing like that.
There's no such thing at it's the
Only
big projects that need contracts. Even if you're doing a product promotion, like a one-day job where you're getting paid 2,000 bob per day, you need to have it in writing, because at the end of the day, the person who's offering you this job might disappear on you. How will you find them without a contract that is governed by the rules or the laws of the country that you come from? Yeah.
Okay. I understand where you're coming from. Also, help me understand something. That in one of the complaints, some models were saying, a good example is them that did adverts probably for some companies. They agreed in the contract that it's going to run maybe for 3 months.
Yes.
But then the company went ahead to use the advert
For a long
post
period.
3 months.
Yeah.
Under such a circumstance, as a model, what do you do? What are some of the options that you can explore if, in case you've agreed that these are the terms, but then the client goes ahead and says, this is my content, I can use it whichever way I want.
Yeah.
What options do you have?
Well, this is why I was saying that models need to be educated about the industry, because there's one thing called a buyout clause. It can be included in the contract such that if you're going to appear in an advert for like 3 months, you know it is strictly 3 months, and you have been paid for strictly 3 months. And there's a contract with a buyout clause that has paid you enough money to cover the 3 months, and also to ensure that if when the 3 months are done and the client still wants to use your images or the audio or the video of the commercial, they get to renew the contract and they pay you some extra amounts of money. Yeah.
We'll talk about some of the legal options probably that are there, that in case the client is not willing to cooperate in the very way you're saying, what can you do as a model? But let me come back to Lorraine. Still on the issue of payment.
Yes.
In our interactions, you've had to mention the issue of there are certain projects that would use this term of we're giving you a platform
For exposure.
for exposure. Yes, tell us, is that a good thing?
No,
As a model, is that a good thing, exposure?
No.
Yes.
Okay, exposure is good, but at the end of the day, your face is being used to represent something.
Yeah.
And I have a problem with that, because there are places I've gone to model. I think we also need to educate our models as well. For example, I modeled for a certain newspaper. I don't think I'll mention the name.
No name.
So it's pro bono, and they'll tell you it's pro bono because if you won't do it, someone else would do it for free for exposure. And there are so very many models who are willing to do that. And I think that's lowering our standards as Kenyans, because I believe we should nurture talent. And this is something really, the same way we nurture acting, in the same way the government is looking into nurturing talent, I believe modeling is a talent as well. It's not just being another pretty face. It's representing a brand, representing something wholesome. So, okay, I believe that it's a raw deal. There's nothing like exposure.
Do this and we give you exposure.
Yes, because you find that you get called to a studio to do a commercial, and they'll tell you they're paying you 10,000, and it's for your face to be used, for your image to be used. I think there are laws on that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when your image is used, it's a pretty serious thing, and there are laws involved. And I think we should make laws concerning use of image and modeling, because I know other countries have laws pertaining that, and it's actually serious. And I think that's something we should take up as models, because it's not just being another pretty face. You have to get a contract for every job you do. You have to go through it. You have to make sure it's okay. You have to consult a lawyer. It's as serious as it
That's
looks.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's not just about being another pretty face. Remember that phrase. So what is it
Everyone
all
is
about?
pretty.
So what is it all about for a young girl out there who is like looking at all of you and saying, I want to be like that lady. I want to be Miss World. I want to be Miss Kenya, Miss Africa. All those Miss.
Yeah.
And they don't have that knowledge of what it's all about. You're saying it's not about being pretty. Most of them think it's all about looking beautiful and just appearing and you know, it's all elegant and dressing up nicely. What is it all about, really, being a model? And this, I'll want to get a cocktail of both your reactions. Let me start with you, Ruri.
For me, according to me personally, I know people have different opinions, which I appreciate. Being a model is being a brand in itself. For example, Tyra Banks is a brand on her own.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So it's being a public figure and representing something valid in society. You understand? Because it's so powerful when you can influence people a certain type of way. So to me, being a model is standing as a public figure in society that will influence society positively and, you know, bring change, not only in terms of society, but empowering women as well. It's not about, okay, you have to look good and all that stuff, but it's not about
You have to be tall
the clothes you wear.
Must you be tall anyway? Let me just ask that. It's just about the way.
Actually,
Not everybody is tall, but some people want to be models in as much as they are not tall. Must you be tall to be a model?
No, not
really.
it's not a must. And that brings us to another different field of modeling altogether, because there are so many categories of models. Tall models like Lorraine here, she can do high fashion, editorials, pageants also. And then if you're a short model, you can do commercial adverts, you can do magazine spreads, you can do voiceovers. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about the height. It depends with which category you're in. Yeah, the one that you fit. And that's why it's always nice to have someone to guide you to discover where you are, because you'll find someone saying, oh, I'm Miss someone, and yet when you look at them, they don't meet the international requirements of a beauty pageant.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. So we were on to you, Robertina. What is modeling all about in your lenses? What do you think modeling is all about?
Okay, for me, I used to be the girl who wanted to be like, you know, our former Miss Kenyas, the likes of Tyra Banks, and I used to be a huge fan, especially I was being encouraged by my grandma. She was a huge fan of Tyra Banks as well, so she would watch all her shows. And I realized that being a model is not just a pretty face, as we've already said. It's about what value are you giving. Even if you're a commercial model and a company approaches you to be their brand ambassador, how are you able to retain or attract customers to buy into their brand? If you're a pageant, what are you doing for the community that you're coming from? If it's, let's say, like a pageant like Miss World, Miss World has a beauty with a purpose clause. So you have to have a project that is benefiting the community that you come from, and not only your community, the whole country, at large. So being a model is not just a pretty face. You have to be smart, because imagine having a project that is going to impact lives. It means you have to sit down and think, what is the problem? What is the root cause of this problem? What am I going to provide as a solution to this problem as a Miss whatever, or as a model representing a certain brand? So being a model is basically, for me, is about creating impact and measurable impact, for that matter. Not just being a pretty face, not just splashing social media with your glamorous shoots or photos or outfits. There's more to that than just being pretty.
There's brains that also have
brains,
to support the
because
beauty.
people are watching you, you know.
Yeah, it's beauty and brains.
Because you see,
it's no longer just beauty.
Exactly. If a company is approaching you to do a commercial advert, they give you a brief, and you have to interpret it and deliver what they expect. So if you can't think, definitely you will fail as a model. So there's more to just being pretty. You have to have brains, you have to be smart, and education is also important. Like people usually say, oh, I want to become a model, and then they forget that you also have to maintain your other life. You have to have a balance. Go to school, learn something, have several skills. Modeling is not the end of you. You have to have other skills. Yeah, they have to be something else you want to do.
These ladies are models, yes, but they're also upstairs. Eh? You know, there's one sitting here who had a first class honors. Nakwambia sisemi, nimesema tu nimemalizia hapo. Kuna mtu first class hapa. Yeah, there's a journalist here. Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that you're saying it's not just looking pretty and coming out and Instagram, you're all over.
Yes.
There has to be something, because even in this project, you have to do research. You have to talk to dignitaries, head of organizations, and you sell your idea to them. You have to know which language and to in those meetings, like what are you going to be doing. But then let's dig deeper, just for the sake of my viewer. Tell us a bit about your educational backgrounds. Nianze nani? Lorraine.
Okay, sure.
Like, what have you studied, and then like that transition into modeling? People think modeling is not a serious thing.
Yes,
like, even
sure.
some parents would say, "Pana, where it a soma?" You know, like it's nothing. Many people do not think that it can actually pay your bills or put food on your table. So tell us what you've studied and whether the two are working together or you're using one to support the other, or what is happening. Yeah.
Well, first, before I started studying journalism, I studied 3D animation and multimedia because I love art so much, and graphics and all that. Then I went on to join a university. Can I mention the name of my university?
Go ahead.
I joined Pan-Africa Christian University to study journalism and a minor in PR. And the two are intermarrying such that I didn't have the confidence I had before I started studying journalism. But when I would model, I would interact with so very many people from different countries, and you know, you interact with dignitaries, as you've said, and they pick your mind. They open up your mind towards many possible, as in the way you think transitions into a more mature level. So you find that when I started studying journalism, I would think out of the box. I wouldn't just think about what we were being taught. So I always found myself 2 steps ahead because of the interaction with people. You know, you learn how to carry yourself, especially when you're networking and there are many people. So the two intermarried for me, and I'm glad I did it. My mom encouraged me so much. Because
when you said you want to be a model, she didn't say unapotoka.
No. She just told me, so long as you don't go too far in terms of image, such as the nudity and all that, which is, it's a no. Okay, there's bikini modeling, which there's decent, and then you understand what I'm saying? There's decent, and then there's going overboard. But she encouraged me so much, and in that, I met many people in the industry because, you know, they would come to take pictures or cover events, and I would interact with them, ask them questions, and they'd pick my mind. So for me, the two intermarried.
They're working together so well.
Yes.
All the best for
you.
that. And then, Robertina, tell us a bit about what you studied and how it relates to what you do.
Okay, well, for one, I believe that there's no limit to what the mind can hold or learn. And my educational background is based on what I did in the campus. That was, I specialized in finance and a Bachelor's of Commerce in JKUAT. And just to be clear, I'm the one who got the first class. Atujasema hashtag.
First class honors. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was always a bookworm since I was a small girl. I love to study and I love to learn new things. So after after campus, the other course I did was an entrepreneurial course. It was an accelerator type of a course. So I had gone there with my business, the Tiana Models, to study about how to become a social entrepreneur. And I did this at Spark International. It's an NGO which supports women-led ventures. So besides that, I think for me, the accounting knowledge or the finance knowledge that I have has helped me to sustain my modeling career. Because to be honest, if I had decided to stick with modeling since like those 6 years ago, I would probably not even be here because I would be so broke to even transport myself up to this place.
So you can't live on modeling?
Basically,
alone?
you can't.
Not in Kenya.
You can't?
In Kenya,
Like
you
you
can't. But my hope,
You have to have like a
my
side
dream,
hustle.
my dream through the Tiana Models Academy and Agency is to reach that level where you can
can
stand
live.
and say that I'm a model and this is what I do, Monday to Friday. For me, I have to work Monday to Friday. If it's about modeling, it's either in the evenings or during the weekends. And it becomes really challenging because you have to rely on other sources of income to just show that you're a model. You get me? You have to like get money from somewhere else, maybe from a parent or from other jobs, to show that you're a model, so that you can go take a photo.
Yeah, to sustain that.
Yeah, you see, to sustain that image, it becomes really challenging. And I hope and I dream and I'm working towards making sure that models can stand and say that I'm a model, I pay my bills because of the modeling work I do. There are a few success stories of models in Kenya, but they're not enough. There may be a few, but we need more. We really need more because nobody can survive without models. Magazines need models to do their adverts. Designers need models to showcase their outfits. Events need models to do ushering, product promotions, commercial adverts. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's about knowing what you're capable of doing. Yeah.
We're just about to come to the end of our conversation, but allow me also talk about some of the misconceptions that are there, especially when it comes to female models.
Sure.
Are there instances that you've had to interact with issues like people associating this industry with immorality?
Yes.
Like they can take advantage of you to offer you a gig or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of those sort of complaints as well.
Yeah.
Is this a good time to really explain what modeling is all about? Like, people think, and one of the things that I know inspired you to start your organization was that, sort of image of immorality as being associated with modeling. Talk to me about, that issue.
Well, for me, I always say that once you're...
Like, you can't have gotten to this place.
Exactly, that's the problem. That is the problem.
Father somewhere. Is it true?
I have this problem. When I tell people that I'm a model, you can see it in their face. They don't even need to tell you or speak it. They're already thinking, so did she sleep with someone? Did she get favors? And it's so unfortunate for someone like me. I'm very principled. Actually, when I see models complaining about they were sexually abused or they were given ultimatums, you either give in to sexual demands or you lose a job, I applaud the ones who didn't. Because at the end of the day, it's about your principle. And you can do without those opportunities that they claim that will prosper you just for you to sleep with them. And it's not about like becoming this typical stereotype model that we have. Usually when I started out, I used to complain that there's a stigma associated with modeling, and I was trying to kill that stigma because of the that immorality aspect.
Yes.
Even with the bikini, as Lorraine was saying, there's too much bikini which is just not right. So for me, I always say, always have your standard. And once you learn to be a model, you understand that to be doing like a bikini shoot, there's a certain limit.
There's standards.
Yes.
And as a
It's
model,
there, but there are standards that
there are standards.
outstanding.
Sure.
Yeah, and again, there's a way, you can look at I can show you 2 different photos of a bikini shoot. You'll see a professional model and it won't make you feel any uncomfortable, and you'll see the other one that's not even close to modeling. And I always say, if you're the type of model who's going to do such things, don't do it in the name of modeling. You're ruining it for people like us who are so hardworking. We have gotten here where we are through sacrificing and letting go of such opportunities that would have, you know, made us look like we are so successful. But we didn't give into the social pressures of maybe, you know, getting favors or corrupting. You know, even money works. It's not only sleeping with these people.
They can
People
give
pay.
you money to influence you to do something.
Exactly.
And I also believe, like,
and
you have
as you do that, also get to a point to tell us what has kept you going in the midst of all these issues that are surrounded with that are associated with modeling. What has kept you going? Your addition to what you were saying first.
Well, what I would say is, first of all, okay, as a freelance model, it's hard. But then again, I've worked with agencies, and I know there are models who are young, who are getting into the industry, and it's easy to take advantage of them. What I would say is work hand in hand with a good mentor, as she said. If you're going to start modeling, I would advise that you join an agency that will work with you and show you that this is actually serious. Like, people don't come here to just be taken advantage of to get jobs and all that. Like, the people I've worked with, let me mention her name, Dorothy Oliech. I really respect her. When you work with her, she's strict. She's really strict, and her work is very professional. So when you go through that, then you realize that you have to work to get to where you want to go. You don't have to do anything with anyone. Yes, exactly. And with that, people will end up respecting you as a person. Yes.
Okay. So, wow. I like how you've made this. Now people understand. It's a job like any other, and you have to, as a model, also you have to have that mindset of, it's not easy, no shortcuts. Nothing is going to come scot-free. But then going forward, are there any proposals you'd give us or recommendations in terms of now, how do we, you know, change the narrative in terms of when models want to be paid? What is it about the modeling industry that we need to change to make sure that, in as much as models are there, we also have the resources and the facilities that are going to enhance this industry to the next level, so that in the international standards we are somewhere as well?
Okay, well, I always say, if you're, in this case, a client, in the modeling industry, you're the client, you need a model services. Or you need to do an event and you know you're going to need models. Always ensure you have a budget for that. Not a future budget, but a real-time budget that you're going to pay models as soon as they finish their job, or like 50% before the job, 50% after the job. Also, for the models, if you get an opportunity to work, ensure that you are following the right protocol. If you don't understand, there are so many industry experts we have, like she has mentioned, Dorothy Oliech, and other people who can help you. Just call them or send them a message in their Facebook inboxes, and they are ready, always ready. You can always even ask me. I'm always ready to help. So always, if you don't understand, even if you're also an event organizer and you need models and you don't know where to begin, just make sure you consult. Because the problem is coming from people doing things they don't know how it's supposed to be done. And then they want to use models for exposure, and at the end of the day, models end up losing. Like, you stay all night in the cold ushering guests, and then at the end of the day, you're told you're supposed to have networked. That was your pay. You know?
Okay.
It's so,
So they don't pay you for being there. It's
So
an opportunity to network with people.
It's an opportunity to network, that exposure mentality. So networking with people, and in this case, networking with people is actually basically in another language, like,
you can network and network and
and network.
Let's just put it that way.
Yes. So,
okay, Lorraine.
I think our problem is the models. Like, we need to wake up. We need to set our standards high. And in doing that, the agents will step up. And when the agents step up, the industry goes up. So I think as models, we need to stop doing this pro bono work, and we need to put a foot down so that we can get better opportunities. Because the more we continue accepting this, the more the agents are comfortable,
Exactly. Less will come.
and the more, yes.
Let me ask you, what does it take to brand yourself to a level where now you can have a voice and say, pro bono is not my thing? Yeah, because you have to get to that space.
Sure.
What will it take for a model to, what do they need to do to get to that point in terms of investment? Okay, what did you do to brand yourself, like, for example?
Well, number one, it comes with experience. You have to work hard to get a good reputation.
Yeah.
Then second, it takes a lot of your look. In modeling, your look sells. So if your look sells, then you have a voice, because already if your look is selling, you're a brand in itself.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to work with you, and you have a voice. You're really powerful beyond, because if you're seen in this advert, in this runway, people are familiar with your face, and then it gives you a platform to have a voice. Yes.
Okay. Is there any addition, like, as you mentor young models as well, what is it that you tell them? If you want to be a successful model in Kenya or internationally, these are the things you need to observe.
Well, for me, I usually give them 3 major tools of trade: knowledge, a portfolio, and have an agency stroke, be a freelance model, have a direction of what you want to do, and always have a goal. You know, when you have a goal, you know why you're doing something. You're not doing it just because, oh, my friend also does it, my classmate also does it. So when you have a goal, it's about you and your focus, and you're able to work on your portfolio, you're able to work on branding yourself. Nowadays, branding nowadays has become, let me say, easy, because we have social media profiles.
Yes.
Don't use your social media profiles posting things that are not growing your brand.
Your brand.
Yeah, so
Wow. Okay.
maintaining a brand and also a personal image and a personality that speaks about who you are, because you may find you are the type of person who would never want to do an advert with, let's say, an alcoholic brand. You're the type of person who would never do an advert with, let's say, a telecommunications brand. So you already know what you want. You already know what you can do, what you can't do, and you build on what you want the people to relate to you with. Yes.
Wow. I like that. You have to set your own standards.
Exactly,
And know
yes.
exactly what is it that you want in this industry,
Yes.
and go for that. Whether you will be paid for the other things, this is what you really want, and this is what you stick to. Then
And
you
also
will be
there's
consistent.
on that exposure bit, sometimes it becomes too much to always work for exposure, but it is necessary, especially if you're a new model. Like, you can do something for someone, but also make sure you're getting something in return. Like if you're doing a magazine spread, although a magazine spread should be paid for, let me use a different example. Let's say a Facebook page. Someone wants to use your photo to promote their, maybe a jewel or a clothing. So get them to use your image, and then let them give you the photos so that you can add to your portfolio, so that even when you're going to approach other clients, they see you have been doing something, because that's how you get the experience at the end of the day, if it comes worse to worse. But the bottom line is always work hard, gather as much experience as possible.
And keep your standards as well.
Keep the standards high, and always ensure that whatever work you get, you treat it professionally. Even if you're getting paid in return for items, document it. Yes.
Wow. And what is it that you guys are passionate about? You say it's beauty with a cause.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is it about you? What are you doing? Or what is it that is close to your heart that you say, with this talent that I have, with this passion that I have, I want to change the world in this way? Lorraine, what is it that you're targeting or are currently doing?
Well, currently I'm working towards my journalism. I want to show people that pretty women are just not blonde. You know, most people believe pretty women are just blonde. So in working on my journalism, then I'll be able to reach out to more people and influence more people, even in terms of my modeling. So currently I'm working on expounding on that.
Okay. Robertina?
Well, for me, it's basically just ensuring that models' welfare is taken care of. That is a dream that is closest to my heart. It is a passion that drives me to even run the Tiana Models Academy and agency. Because at the end of the day, I want to see a nation that appreciates modeling as a decent career with equal and fair income earning opportunities. So even if it's a company, they have a department for a modeling job, and the model has roles for the company, and these will be creating jobs across the country. And that is a dream, that is a passion that drives me. Growth, seeing the modeling industry grow, and seeing that models are well taken care of and their welfare is appreciated. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time and for really addressing some of these issues that are facing models in Kenya. This is a conversation that should continue, and maybe we can have it again and again and again in the near future.
Yeah.
Your final words as we bring this conversation finally to close. Any parting shot, social media or anything, whatever you want to say.
My social media on Instagram is at modi.mods. And what I would like to say is, let's raise our standards, because we'll keep complaining and the agents won't do anything about it, and the industry will go down. But if we change our standards, then the change starts from us. It starts from within. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
For me, it's about clients to listen to us, and for models to also listen to advice. And I do modeling tutorials on YouTube. I have a channel. You can search Robertina Mbula on YouTube, and my Instagram handle is Robertina_N. And through these platforms, I try to reach out to the rest of the world to understand what modeling is, especially in Kenya, and through other topics like social enterprise and how I relate them to modeling and to achieving the dream that is making modeling a career that is decent and well appreciated.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and all the best in all that you're
Thank
trying
you
to
so
do in
much.
society.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you too.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And thank you for watching. Today we were talking about women and modeling, and I was having two lovely models in studio, Robertina and Lorraine, and they've shared a lot about their experiences, what is working for them, and strategies that they wish you would also employ that will help you as a young or as an established model. As you continue doing this, you just use them so that we can make this particular industry a decent industry, a respected industry, a well-paying industry, an organized industry. My name is Safina Chieng Ouma. I'll see you. We're still continuing with this particular program. Don't go anywhere. Remember, it's Tuesday, and Health Tuesday is coming right up with Samuel Joroge. We take a short break.